Well,
Well, yeah, we can do this if you're ready.
okay. I do think I'm right. I'm not getting my kids, so I'm gonna get me a
Oh hell yeah.
frosty
It's beer
banquet,
o'clock.
baby.
I took a Lisa on your heart. I took a Lisa on your heart. Can I Lisa, Lisa bud? Can I Lisa, Lisa bud? Can I Lisa, Lisa bud?
Welcome back, everybody. We are Ref Track Research. You are the audience, and together we are on a quest for Dynasty Domination. How's it going over there, Daniel?
It's good. It's good. I just look at this room and I'm like, time for some remodeling, man. I need to take over, get this puppy humming. That's my goal. Off-season goals.
Fair
But
enough.
more than that, the combine's in full flux. I know you're
Yeah,
happy. It's your location. So Christian, you tell me, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Planning on going to watch the running backs and wide receivers and quarterbacks on Saturday. I hope they never move the combine because it's a good little free thing to go to. So,
Free. Damn.
um, yeah, I'm having a blast. But yeah, just ready for the rookie off season to get started. So, without further ado, we're going to take a week break from profiles, but we're going to do our first mock draft of the season, one that will inevitably be dog shit when we look back after what actually happens in the NFL draft. But it's good to see how these guys move around and everything. So we are going to hit you with a two-round rookie mock draft for the 2026 class. And yeah, I'm just going to throw it up on screen here. So we can get this puppy started. I'll give you the number one pick if you want
Well, that makes sense because I
it.
am number one
Fair.
and I have the 101 and for the belt right
Oh
now,
yeah,
I haven't
that's
got any
true.
trade offers yet. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is pretty easy this year, currently, right now. A lot of people are probably going to agree with me. But I'm going with Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. Definitely a potential transcendental running back choice there. We'll see how he where he ends up, but I mean, you had Bijan and then Ashton Genty kind of popped on the scene, but other than Bijan, I feel like Love has been the most touted running back prospect we've had lately. I mean, again, Ashton
Well,
Genty
yeah,
kind of came out of nowhere, um, in my opinion. I mean, like people probably knew who
that's
he
true.
was, but then he just had that incredible season, which sparked him out. Whereas Love, that's a name you've been hearing for
Yes,
several years.
right. 35 touchdowns over the past 2 years, 2,500 yards on the ground in that time, and still can get a little bit of work done as a receiver. So, yeah, he's what we've been waiting for. I can't put him on the Bijan level, but I don't know if
Oh, I
like,
wouldn't either.
are we looking for, is he Bijan level, or is it because Bijan we're so hungry for that level again? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him on the Bijan level by any means, but I just mean in terms of, I feel like he's just the guy I heard about the second most out of the guys. I mean, maybe you could go back to Najee, um, because
Yeah.
there was a lot of pop on Najee Harris coming out. But
Yep.
even him, he was the ETN was in that range. So to me, it's just like
Hmm.
Love is this name that is the consensus 1-1, even super flex drafts. Granted, that's a little bit up to a weak QB class as well, but
Sure.
you know how it goes. So that leaves me with an interesting choice here, um,
Interesting.
because there's just so many wide receivers coming up. I feel like this wide receiver class is fairly deep and fairly interesting. And there's like a few guys you could go with. You could go with Carnell Tate. You could go with Makai Lemon, Jordan Tyson. I'm sure there's some Denzel Boston fans
Hey, yeah.
there. Um, and to me, it comes down to two guys. I think it's you go Carnell Tate or you go Makai Lemon. Carnell Tate, in my opinion, has been the more like solidly productive guy. And he's coming from Ohio State, so he's got that going for him. But Makai Lemon burst onto the scene really hard this year, 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns, I believe it was. And he's 22 years old, which so is Tate, or basically they're going to be 22 in their first rookie year. So that's why it comes down to those two guys to me. I think they have like the highest upside. And just for like personal taste, I think I'm gonna go Lemon here.
Oof.
I like him a lot. Haven't dug as much into Carnell Tate, so I'll probably change that 50 times by the time we get to the actual draft. But just for funsies, let's go for Lemon.
Okay, well, you've done the work for me on the 1-3 because I probably would have gone with Carnell Tate at the 1-2. So making
Yeah.
him the 1-3 is pretty simple for me, and we got a ton to get through as far as profiles go and the big tournament that's coming up. But I love him for a number of reasons. Just watching the film, he just felt I don't know. To me, it felt like he was just untouchable. This last year, he was at 17 yards per reception with the 86% contested catch rate, and it jumps out when you look at him. That length is just on demand constantly. So,
Yeah.
um, I think
Def
this is going to be a toss up that's settled by the NFL draft,
yeah.
landing spots in capital. But these two guys are definitely the front runners. They've separated, I think, from the other two.
I agree, and that's why obviously I feel like if I was an NFL GM, I mean Carnell Tate's probably the answer, 6'3", 195 pounds, and just the consistent
Buckeyes.
production, yeah, with the Buckeyes. Lemon, obviously shorter, 5'11", but 195. I think his explosiveness just excites me.
Hmm.
And that's something that can bite you in the ass. I feel like Carnell Tate probably will end up more consistent, but Lemon just might have those like crazy breakout games, which is what I'm excited about. At least for this mock draft. Who knows? I don't think I have any high picks in this draft anyway, so it's probably not going to matter. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, these are the 8 and 9 guys on the PFF big board. They've completely separated themselves from the rest of the class and probably will continue to do if they're running on Saturday. But anyway, so that kind of makes it a two-guy race
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
me for the 104 here. And I think that's Jordan Tyson and Denzel Boston.
Okay.
Also, just because I didn't say it at the top, not a super flex draft. We are not
Yep.
doing that. So that's why Mendoza
Never.
has not gone. Yeah, we don't do the super
We
flex.
won't. We see your letters, and the answer's
hmm
no.
Yeah. And I actually, I just, again, just from what I've dug into on the tape and what I like the explosiveness and the wow factor so far. I'm gonna go Jordan Tyson here. I think he
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense as like a high upside pick. And not that I don't really like Denzel Boston as well. I just think that's where I would go.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. This feels like a toss up to me. I like Boston's style a ton, but I do think that Tyson has more upside.
hmm
So if he can be healthy, that's something everyone's going to be talking about over the coming days to see if he looks healthy. But his draft stock could go through the roof. Whereas Boston is like that guy who's probably not making it out of the first round of the
Yeah,
NFL. I guess I should say that I'll select Boston before I talk too much about him.
that's
But
fair.
yeah, Washington wideout, Denzel Boston. He's a player that I really like watching him play, and I think that there's something underrated about having the consistent second and third year production that he had,
hmm
right over 800 yards. So he's not, glaring with the volume and the production, but extremely consistent. It almost feels like you know what you get with him. And he does a really good job of using his physicality at the point. He's a little bit bigger, 6'4", 209, and you can feel that on the tape. Like he doesn't feel like he's threatened as much by coverage. And so he kind of just muscles down some nice deeper catches, but he's a little bit older, a little less flashy than these other three guys that we mentioned. So this makes sense to me that he would fade a little bit here. But definitely feels like a first round talent in the NFL draft. Probably going to be top half of your rookie drafts in the first round there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this kind of, regardless of the order in a non-super flex draft, I feel like this is how it needs to go. With these five names going off the board first, and yeah, like you're saying, he does not as flashy necessarily as some of these other guys, but the production and the consistency is there for Boston. So yeah, I like him as well. Would not be upset about either one of these guys. For the 106. It gets a little more interesting. There's still some wide receivers here, potential second running back, depending on how much you like him, and then a tight end and a quarterback come into play here. But just again, just I mean, early on in the process, I haven't even watched some tape on some of these guys, telling on myself a little bit. But of the guys that I have watched that are left, give me Casey Concepcion. I think he's a high variance pick. I think he could end up being a bit boomer busty at the next level, but what I've seen so far from him, I really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes at the next level.
Okay. Yeah, I like it, man. Plant your flag. Plant your flag. I too am planting a flag right now, and this is just going to be something that people are going to have to deal with throughout the off-season process. But I'm in love with this young man, okay? I don't care what you guys have to tell me about all these dudes from Penn State and Notre Dame. Give me a corn husker. Give me Emmett Johnson.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I'm not playing games with you guys. I think that he is going to be a badass at the next level. This production, 1,450 yards, 10 or 12 touchdowns. He had some receiving chops in his game too. If he goes out in the combine and can put down some speed, I think he's going to turn heads. He's right at 200 pounds, so I'm hoping he, eats a couple of double quarter pounders tonight, gets his body right for the weigh-in. But I think if he can hit 210 on the scale, he's going to put himself in a pretty good argument for being the number two running back when it's all said and done in this class, and he looks it to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, when I mentioned the running back while I was taking Concepcion, I that was who I was referencing. I think Emmett Johnson is
Oh,
gonna separate himself as the RB2 of this class.
better call PFF and let him know.
PFF, we like
Sleeping
to
on
use
him.
them, but it's also kind of whatever. Yeah, I mean, what is he ranked here?
84, I think.
84. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
he's behind yeah, Jonah Coleman
Yeah.
and Price. Yeah, so
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, I could see the price argument there, and I do like Jonah Coleman as well. So
yeah.
we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Emmett Johnson as well. I wonder what their knocks on him are. But I like it. I like the pick here. I also think like there's a clear tier break probably at the 105, and you're
Yes.
really starting to take guys that you like, which is also why I am gonna go here with a guy whose name has been rocketing up the boards recently. I know he went from unranked to like 19th on Daniel Jeremiah's
Oh,
top 50 players this past week. And I like him quite a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I'm going to take Omar Cooper Jr. from
oh,
IU.
Homer.
I really do think he could be a sneaky into the first round surprise pick. There's just a lot of buzz on him. A lot of people seem to really like what he's thrown on tape, as do I. So I think he could sneak into the back end of the NFL draft first round and probably your rookie drafts as well.
What a bold move, man. I just I like Surratt a lot, so it's
Yeah.
hard for me to, you can only pick one IU guy, and just in case anybody didn't know that. So you've planted your flag, I've planted mine, and it will be a feud that we revisit
Yeah.
periodically throughout the remainder of our party time together. I'm gonna do it, dude. I hate doing this. I hate to do it. I hate to do it, everybody. But this is a real tear break, like you're saying. It feels like you're holding like three guys in each of the position groups, running back and wide receiver. Um, so I think it's a time where if you need it and you don't know exactly where you are as far as like getting right with God, this is the moment to plant your flag for Fernando Mendoza, and he'll
Yeah.
take you with him. He's building the ark in Las Vegas. So, I mean, or wherever he gets drafted. Um,
Yeah.
so I think people are kind of downplaying him in the fantasy world just because there's not a lot of competition.
Uh-huh.
But real talk, like I think he's better than Cam Ward, talk about a
Mhm.
quarterback drought last year. So I think it's a good place to get a potential franchise quarterback with some good upside coming off a heater of
Yeah.
a national championship season.
For sure. I'm with you. I'd be surprised if he makes it much farther than this in most drafts, even non-superflex drafts. I think the knock on him is just like the ceiling fantasy-wise doesn't seem incredibly high. He seems like a Jared Goff type, which we've seen Jared Goff have some really good um, fantasy seasons, but on balance, it's been fairly just kind of middling in terms of fantasy return. A guy you like to have and like to start, especially in a super flex, he'd obviously probably go 102, 103. But it's hard to like go after those guys when there's some juicy talent on the board. But like you're saying, once you get past that 105, it's kind of like who do you like, where they end up, honestly. And my worry for Mendoza, at least early on, is the Raiders. I just don't think they're going to be very good. They do have a lot of money, I think, to try to rebuild this team. So maybe they can put a line in front of him and give him some weapons. But I could just see like maybe year one and year two being fairly unexciting in terms of fantasy, even if he looks like a franchise guy, which is why I think he's getting pushed down. But I like the pick here. I think it makes sense. Similarly to that, I'm gonna go ahead and take the tight end that makes the most sense here. That seems to be head and shoulders above everybody else, and at least in terms of pre-draft rankings by all these guys. I'm gonna go with Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. Try to get that positional value there because I do like some of these running backs coming up, but I'm not in love with them necessarily. They all have their issues, which all these guys do, and there's some good receiving talent still left. But I think snagging Sadiq here makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a popular thing. I just haven't quite warmed up to him
Mm,
yet, and there's a ton of time to do so. But yeah, so I respect the pick. I think that makes sense right there with Mendoza. We're obviously kind of shifting gears a little bit, and I think this makes it a good time to dip back into the running back room. Personally, I know I'm going to sound like a crazy person again. I just a lot of insanity is being dealt with. I'm way off a consensus, but I like Nicholas Singleton a
mm.
lot here as the RB3 at this time. You've talked about him a little bit in the recent weeks. He did kind of get put in the doghouse a little bit as far as like the snap share and everything goes at Penn State, but I think he's got a ton of potential. And when I watch his film, it just blows me away compared to Allen as far as like the dynamic,
Yeah.
like skills that he has. And well, I'm sure we'll talk about Allen in a few minutes or whatever, but I think he's better. I think he just hits a little bit different and a little bit harder. And
Hmm.
I think he's got a little more dynamic play style to him. So I'm getting in on him, even though, people in the PFF world would probably shake their finger at this pick being number 3, but I like him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I do like Singleton more. I think he's more dynamic in terms of especially fantasy value. And well, you say that about PFF. I think NFL Draft Buzz is actually with you. They have, if I'm not mistaken, they have Singleton above uh, uh, Katron Allen as well. Let me
Okay.
take a look. Yep, Singleton at 5 and Katron Allen at 6. And they actually have Emmett Johnson at 4. So. Uh,
Smart.
but they do have a guy here at 2, which I'm actually going to go ahead and take. This is not a guy I've watched too much of, But the fact that he was able to produce as well as he was behind Jeremiah Love, I'm gonna go ahead and take a stab on Jadarian Price. He has put up some good numbers sitting behind a true workhorse at running back. 744 yards in 2024, 674 in 2025, with 13, oh, excuse me, with 18 touchdowns between the two seasons. So I just think that production shouldn't be ignored. And I think you might be able to snag like a pretty good workhorse here.
Nice. Yeah, I think so too. It's always interesting to see, what's left. It goes back to the Roshan Johnson type profile where
Hmm.
it's, they popped, but they're always fresh, whatever. But he does have some nice film that he's put down. I've enjoyed kind of checking him out. So I respect the pick. I'm all about it. Um, okay, I'm gonna continue to do wild card stuff because that's just how I roll. But I really did enjoy Zachariah Branch. Kind of broke
Mm,
into him recently. Georgia wide receiver, definitely a slot guy first. But he was just like he had such a presence on the field and such a execution to his game that I think that someone's going to prioritize him in their offense, and it's gonna be one of those guys like he's potentially first half of the second round type draft pick where an actual functional offense could draft him instead
mm.
of, we see these high end wide receivers go to like kind of rebuild, pause moment, struggling teams. He's the kind of guy that could be slotted into a functional offense and featured heavily. So I'm very excited to see where he lands, and I do think he's got a ton of potential to translate that slot success to the NFL.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. I like this tape, what I've seen so far, and if he ends up on a roster that can really take advantage of that slot receiver role, I think he'll work really, really well for that. Like a Josh Downs type, maybe a little higher upside, especially the QB room for the Colts has been kind of fluctuating. So if he gets into a more consistent place where they use that slot receiver, I think it could be a lot of fun for Branch. That is the first pick of the second round, by the way. I'm going to run through the picks of the first round just real quick. So at the 101, we had Jeremiah Love, Makai Lemon at 1-2, Carnell Tate at 1-3, Jordan Tyson at 1-4, Denzel Boston at 1-5, Casey Concepcion at 1-6. Emmett Johnson at 1-7, Omar Cooper at the 1-8, Fernando Mendoza at the 1-9, Kenyon Sadiq at the 1-10, Nicholas Singleton at the 1-11, and Jadarian Price rounding out the first round at the 1-12. And then Zachariah Branch starting off the second round. I'm gonna go. This is interesting to me. There's three names here that I like quite a bit, and I'm gonna go with the one that I think has the highest upside, but also could potentially have the lowest floor, and that's Chris Bell. I got into Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville, and you can see the traits that are going to attract him to an NFL roster. I don't know if it's going to 100% work out. I do think he has some molding to do at the next level and may be a slow burn for his rookie year. But the upside is very, very high on this kid. I think the athleticism shows on the tape really, really well. And I'm intrigued to see who ends up with him. If it's a bad offense that I don't trust, I'm going to shy very far away from him. But if he ends up on a team that I like, that has been able to kind of mold wide receivers, I'll be all over Chris Bell.
Nice. I like that pick a lot. It inspires me to take a player that I've similar feelings about, just kind of fell for the tape and just kept riding it. He's got a ton of upside, and it really is a landing spot type thing. And I'm doing it again. I'm going for a Tennessee wide receiver. So I'm going for Chris Brazzle, guy with, I don't know, extreme length. I like a larger wide receiver with good length that can just work it across the field and then also get deep and really snag some contested touchdowns. And he had some really blow up games this past year in his most productive season, just hit 1,000 yards. But then he had some softer games. So I want to see him in a place where he can consistently be utilized and kind of showcase his skills. I think he's got, some higher potential than what we've seen out of him so far.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think I like him better than like say Dante Thornton
Yeah.
last year, and even a little bit more. Um, I can't think of his name now, but the other Titans or Tennessee wide receiver that you were fascinated with, at least so far, I kind of like his upside. I do think he's a tools guy that needs to be developed, similar to a Chris Bell. Cedric Tillman, that was it, right?
Yeah, and then there
Yeah.
was Jalen Hyatt as
Oh yeah,
well.
Jalen Hyatt. I like all these guys more than I ever liked Jalen Hyatt, but
I love Cedric Tillman though.
yeah. No, I mean he's all right. But we'll see. I like Chris Brazo. I like his potential here. I'm not gonna let the next running back fall any farther. Probably should have gone sooner, but I'm gonna take Jonah Coleman. Maybe the ceiling isn't crazy high like some of these other players, but the consistency, 5.5 yards per carry for his career throughout college. And he gives you some receiving upside as well. 354 yards through the air last season on 31 catches. So that dynamic dual threat back is juicy, and I think at the 2-4 is kind of a steal.
Yeah, that's a he's I mean, it feels like no way he slides as far, you know. It just
No.
kind of speaks to this class. There's a lot of depth at wide receiver, but fantasy is driven by running back need constantly, it feels like. So I think we shifted up, but I don't know. I wanted to love him, but I got back in the film and I couldn't put him ahead of some of these guys. So that's pretty much why I paused a little bit on him. But I think I have to go running back as well.
Okay.
I I looked back at Demon Claiborne,
Yeah.
and I really like him, man.
Okay.
He's a feisty guy. I think he's going to put down a 40 time that's going to turn heads this weekend. And, you know, he's listed 195 or so. And that's not beautiful. But if he can clip up to 200 and keep that speed, I think that he is just racing to the outside. If he's in a fast-paced offense, I think he's a playmaker that and a big-time weapon coming out. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
No, I definitely liked him a lot. Obviously, the size scares me a little bit. I'm a bit of a sizeist when it comes to running backs. But that doesn't always work out. And obviously, if he ends up showing up a little heavier and crushes the 40, which I do think both of you are on the same page, I think he'll do really well at the 40. That could be a name that we see kind of popping off as like, oh, this sleeper pick. So I don't think you're off base at all. I mean, the other guy would be Katron Allen, and I think we both view him more of a potential rotational bruiser kind of change of pace, not change of pace necessarily, but like a guy that's going to come in and be the short yardage goal line back, at least for sure early on. So Claiborne might have a little upside, especially early in his career. So I like it. This gets interesting though, because I could go running back again. Probably would be Allen at this point. But I'm going to take another guy who some people are decently high on, like myself. Some people hate him and send him to
Oh,
the dregs of the rankings. But I like him, man. We're gonna see what happens with Skylar Bell at the combine, in my opinion, and I'm intrigued to see where he goes. I think he kind of fits into a decent little slot role, definitely in the next level, and maybe a little more, given he's just a little bit bigger than say a Zachariah Branch. But I'm willing to take the chance on him at in the middle of the second round.
okay. Yeah, that's a good call. Good call. There's actually, you know, there's quite a few good names here as we, you know, get past the halfway point on the second round. So makes things a little bit interesting. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It feels like I'm doing this wrong, but I like me some Elijah Surratt.
Okay.
So I want to take and claim that as my pick here. This the stats on him, I've got to do a little more digging because he had nearly 2,200 yards in 2023, and it's kind of tapered down, but he's been highly productive and had good utilization. He really just seemed like the go-to guy for Indiana when they needed something, you know, when they needed something big. So I enjoyed that. I know you like Omar, and that's fine, but I think Surratt offers some upside and some consistency as a kind of a heavier, medium build guy that can just play the outside and bring it down, win some physical matchups. So he's a guy that I'm just going to keep my eye on through this process.
Yeah, no, you should. I like Sarat as well. It's not nothing against him in terms of
Hmm.
liking
Hmm.
Omar a little better. Just I think the
Hmm.
ceiling on Omar is a little higher in
Sure.
my opinion, but we'll see. I mean, I'm with you. Sarat's been graded really well all three of the past seasons for PFF. And like you said, consistent presence on the outside there, and I think he could really excel at that level at the next uh, excel at that position at the next level. So I
Well,
could be regretting my choice, especially getting him around later, basically in Surratt. But we'll see. We'll have to come back to that, like you said. I am gonna go with Katron Allen here. I kind of already have talked about him. I think he can be like a plug and play bye week type running back or an injury in front of him. I think he plays the position well enough that he's going to be able to consistently get you solid points. Maybe never have a game at the next level where he's breaking out for 160 yards and three touchdowns or whatever like he could in college. But I do think he could get you a consistent workload. His receiving chops leave a lot to be desired, which I think is why he's going to fall in these rookie drafts, especially in PPR leagues. It's just, I mean, you get a guy, Kaytron Allen, as a number two, could rush for 50 yards, and that would be a good day out of him. But Damon Claiborne could rush for 20 yards and have four catches for 35 and end up with a better day, you know? Like,
right.
and so it's just one of those things. I just think Katron Allen is a little bit limited in terms of fantasy. I think if he was on, say, the Packers, I would be really excited about him being a guy in our running back room. But in terms of fantasy, less so.
Yeah, I get for Allen, I hate to hate on him too much, but watching his film, like it felt like he did a really good job of capitalizing on opportunities,
Mm.
um, but not necessarily creating opportunities. And so that's kind of holding me back. Just didn't look that creative. Kind of burnt. I felt the similar way about oh no, Caleb Johnson last year, but I still
Yeah.
like let the hype go with him. And then I don't know what exactly happened with his rookie year, but I was like my initial instinct was trying to protect me, and so
Yeah.
I'm kind of that same feeling with Allen, but it's still really early in the process, so
I
we'll
hear
see
you.
how it ages.
Well,
But
speaking as someone who got burnt by Caleb Johnson, that's something I'm looking at now.
oh no, you better get fresh. We can pause right now. You need to free yourself of this potential Allen problem. No, don't let me drag you down with me. But speaking of dragging down names and people and the shame of it all, I can't anymore. I can't for any longer let this happen, guys. We got to protect our outstanding players. Malachi Fields, he's on a heater, guys. He had a great Senior Bowl. People are talking about him. And I think that he's probably going to be a popular name thrown around at the combine as well. So I'm feeling Malachi Fields on this pick right here.
Fair enough. He'll be an interesting name to track. I feel like he's getting forgotten about.
Yeah, a little
Again,
bit.
I think it's just the deepness of this like wide receiver class. Um, that has him just kind of as a name to be forgotten. I mean, we've taken what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 receivers before
Oof.
Fields, and they all made sense. So I think that's why he's getting ignored. But if he shows out at the combine, he could kind of move up those rankings and shock some people. So I'm with you there. Um, so now it's interesting. There's a running back who I'm seeing some pop on, but I actually have not personally watched in Mike Washington out of Arkansas, but I'm seeing some pop on him. Could be an interesting move here. But then there's a group of these three wide receivers that I find fairly interesting as well. In Jeremy Bernard, Antonio Williams, and Jacoby Lane all have something to offer me. And it's kind of like a pick your poison type deal. I've gone a lot with the smaller, quicker guys, and that's kind of where Antonio Williams falls in, whereas Jeremy is 6'1", 204. And I think I am gonna go with Bernard just to kind of offset the difference of what I usually do. I like the size profile and the production. So we'll see how that ends up, but I do like Antonio Williams quite a bit as well.
Yeah, that is kind of a tough call. I feel personally, I lean Lane. I like the film on Lane.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know what Jeremy Bernard's name just puts me in the thumbs down category. And I know it's not, it's not an appropriate way to live your life, but it's undeniable, so I got to say it out loud here. But I think we're going to find out a little bit more about him as we dig in the film and see what the athleticism looks like. But I have looked at a little bit of Mike Washington
Okay.
Jr.'s tape, and I like the guy. He was producing at a really efficient rate, and he had some pass catching chops that I felt were pretty impressive. So he's a larger back, and he's got a lot of power to his game. So I think if he can back it up with a little bit of speed, he can make a name for himself. There's a ton of uncertainty, I guess we can say, outside of the top 4 or 5 consensus running backs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like a good time in the NFL to get one of these younger guys. I think there's some turnover. We've seen a lot of aging guys hold on a little longer than typical. So that the bottom's got to fall out on some of these guys. And we got to backfill. So everyone's looking everywhere. I think Mike Washington might just be a bit of a sleeper right now. But that size, you can't argue with it. If he's got the speed, he's going to get utilized.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and I'm excited. I mean, like I said, I've been seeing that name pop up everywhere, digging into the research for the combine and for our rookie draft going forward. So I'm very intrigued, and especially to hear you kind of echo some of the thoughts that I've been seeing. So I'm excited to dig into Mike Washington for sure. We'll see how it goes. So you would think I would go Antonio Williams here since I was arguing, but I'm actually gonna stake another flag in this rookie mock draft, and I'm gonna say that my number 2 tight end is not Eli Stowers,
Yeah.
and it is actually Max Clare. And I'm gonna take Clare here at the end of the second. I like his upside as a receiver, at least in terms of grades. He's got a better run blocking grade than Stowers this past season, so he might see the field a little sooner. And I really just think he's gonna surprise some people. I could see him being like a second round pick in the NFL draft, and maybe be utilized fairly early on. I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong a lot
No,
more,
never.
but I like Max Clare quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I was hoping someone would do it. I did my own little drafty draft here, and I had him at the 22 spot, right behind Mike Washington, but you snuck in a few dudes that pushed the whole field back. I didn't have, yeah, Jeremy or Skylar in there, so
Mhm.
he slipped outside with the opportunity I was getting due to your beautiful sleeper picks. So I'm glad you got him on the list because it does feel like he is a hell of a player. I was surprised when I watched some of the film, kind of shadowing your profile on him last week, that I thought he was locked and loaded. I thought he looked like a hell of a player, and I'm surprised he's not getting a little more buzz than he's getting right now.
I think he could be a guy that after the combine people are talking about quite a bit. I think he's going to show out athletically. So there you have it. There's a 2 round rookie mock draft for us.
We did it.
Second round is Zachariah Branch, Chris Bell, Chris Brazel at the 2-3, Jonah Coleman at the 4, Claiborne at the 2-5, Skylar Bell at the 2-6, Elijah Surratt at the 2-7, Katron Allen at the 2-8, Malachi Fields 2-9, Jeremy Bernard at the 2-10, Mike Washington Jr. at the 2-11, and rounding out the second round is Max Clare. So yeah, I like it. We'll see how wrong it is and how much it changes
See how
uh,
wrong it is.
after the NFL draft, and that'll be coming up soon. Our combine review will be coming up next week potentially, and then we'll keep hitting the profiles up until we start the tournament. which should be fairly soon here. So get excited for that, everybody. But until then, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
I took a Lisa on your